Okay, now I think it's on. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the panel on media and the creator economy. First of all, I would like to know, and this is an actual question that I want people to answer, what are you interested in gaining from attending this panel? Do you want to know opportunities in the space, maybe an area you could start a startup or make money? Who's interested in that? One person, two, small handful. Who's more interested in getting a better understanding of the landscape so you can identify opportunities yourself? Handful of people. Who's interested in understanding better specific projects and people in the space so that you can network and have a better understanding of what's going on around Utah with media and the creator economy? Case studies. Good. I like that. We have people here with firsthand real experience right now, so we will get some of those case studies in hand. Let's do introductions. Let's start with London down here. Give me a postcard introduction, who you are, what you're known for, what you're working on right now at the overlap of media and crypto blockchain. The terms are all so loaded, they're politicized. It's like, if I say Bitcoin or I say crypto, I'm gonna have certain people like turning their nose up at me. But you take my meaning, the whole space, we're interested in all of it. Quick, postcard bios, go.
Do you guys want to come sit down back here, by the way? There's lots of seats. You don't have
Sit down.
You to be comfy.
Sit down now. Sit down now. Okay. Yeah, London Laz. I guess this could be taken as unfortunate, but I'm a TikToker.
It's okay.
It's okay. I can hit the whoa so hard. That's all. In the Web3, crypto, whatever, metaverse, got a few projects that I'm working on, primarily centered around experiences. So one thing, actually, is Future House here? Is Future House Studios in here at all? They're here somewhere. Me and Adam Sidwell are working on an experience from my link in bio. It's basically choose your own adventure with me as the character, so you can go make me do stupid things inside of the metaverse. Other than that, in the crypto area, my NFT project that I'm working on is we're renting mansions across the United States that kind of act like mini content houses for people that own one of our NFTs. They get access to experiences that happen monthly at these different houses across the United States by holding the NFT and access to the mansion to shoot their content when needed. They're in the very preliminary stages right now, but yeah, London Laz, woo!
Woo! This guy's awesome. Also, you were a TikToker, dude. I started out as a Snapchatter, so I don't know about that one.
Humble beginnings.
Yeah, from humble beginnings come great things. Do I talk about do I go or back to you?
Postcard introduction.
Okay.
And what you're doing right now at the overlap of media and blockchain stuff.
All right, so my postcard would say, what's up? Welcome to shonduras. That's my social media name. And I'm just passionate about community building and taking small little opportunities. We all see those things that are like, man, I should do that. Like Web3 is huge. I should go after that, build this. I know this guy. I'm passionate about taking those little opportunities and trying to turn them into big opportunities. And within a couple weeks or months, you know that you need to shift here or cancel or go a different direction. But that's what I've been doing, and I've found great people around me to do that with. So we have a whole space station crew of people who like to build out these little opportunities and make them bigger. Started out with my personal brand, Shonduras, Snapchat, transitioned over to YouTube, met the great leaders of like the Gary V's and the Casey Neistats who taught me so much about storytelling and business. Took those learnings, found more good people. Holiday, my business partner right here, there he is right there. He's If he wasn't here, we would still be doing our taxes on like a pen and paper and like mailing it in as a note for your eyes only, IRS. I don't know how to be professional, but I'm really good at like building brands and communities. So we're a killer combo. And then at the space station, we have over 100 people now who have slowly just month by month like attached to these ideas. We have Space Station Gaming Esports. We have a Space Station Animation YouTube animation studio. Quarter Machine, which is our Web3 NFT project. We build out apps. On YouTube, I get over 200 million views a month. So that's like some serious community right there. And I'm just passionate about everything I just said.
I love it. I love it. No, that was great. You guys are super passionate. I love it. Super exciting. My name's Garrett Openshaw. My company's Moonify. So we're a social media platform, Web3 social platform. It's community owned. We're built for content creators, so we have tools specifically developed to help creators to monetize and to build their brands. And that's the basics of it. We're focused on finance, so we're kind of, up against the crypto Twitters of the world. So mostly focused in the crypto space because that's where our background is. And we'll be launching in about 6 weeks. So
nice.
we're
That's
just,
exciting.
yeah, beta's going on right now, and we'll do a full commercial launch in about 6 weeks.
Woo!
Yeah. And I'm going to be moderating this discussion. My name's Austin Craig. I've done a handful of things in crypto blockchain startups in Utah for what seems like forever. I made a documentary about Bitcoin in 2013. I was the head of marketing at a blockchain startup in 2017 and 2018. And I'm running a crypto-focused YouTube channel right now, which is so small compared to these gentlemen over here. But hey, we're grinding. We're going to make it grow.
I've learned so much from you over the years, though.
It's very kind of you to say.
Yeah, that's why he's moderating.
So I want to talk about a couple things. I want to have a real discussion, and we wanted some case studies as requested from the audience. I want to talk about what you're doing right now in that overlap of creative economy and blockchain crypto. There's got to be a better term for this. I'm just messing it up. Blockchain, crypto, Web3, all of it. The future, the decentralized web. And specifically, I would like to hear what challenges you're facing right now. What's the hardest part of building something meaningful and successful in that space? Obviously, the market is down right now. We're aware of that context, but you're going to be facing some unique challenges. I kind of want to hear about that. Do we have any takers on wanting to be honest about the challenges you're facing?
So as a TikToker or YouTuber or influencer, whatever you call it, brands hit you up all the time, and now it's obviously Web3 brands. A lot of crypto projects come across my desk. And as an influencer, it's so hard to be like, is this a pump and dump, And yes, it is, although I do. No, I'm just kidding. The hardest part is how do you market? I actually come from marketing. That's my background. So I understand a little bit more than the average influencer about marketing and ad spend and how to target your ads correctly. So every brand deal that I do focuses on running my content as ads, specifically Spark ads on TikTok. So if you guys ever see an influencer's post and it says sponsored underneath, brands are running money behind that creative. And that's where you get a lot of big wins on TikTok, working with a TikToker. And so what happens when it's a crypto project? And so if you guys know Giddy out here, we did 3 TikToks to run as Spark ads. And I think 2 of them got shut down. Do we have Giddy in here? 2 of them got shut down, but 1 crushed it. 1 drove a lot of app downloads. And so I'm trying to make this the real case study. Shut down by TikTok? Yeah, because they're really scared about pump and dumps. And
Their audience is really young too.
Yeah.
Specifically a DeFi project.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So we had to figure out a way to get past their, the bot or the person who's shutting them down. So what I did is I just acted like a douchey crypto bro. It had nothing to do with Giddy other than the caption. And I just said a bunch of phrases that are buzzwords, and I had my blazer and my AirPods in. And for whatever reason, it did fairly well organically. And then once we started pumping money into it, it got past TikTok and drove a lot of engagement and specifically app downloads. So that's where I like the crossover as an influencer is not just posting, hey, I'm part of this project, click link in bio. They have 5,000 people in the Discord. Like I don't ever want to do that. I want to create a piece of content that can stand alone, be entertaining alone, but also be ran as an ad. So I think as you guys start all your projects and you start thinking of how do I get the word out, don't just pay somebody to post. Spend that money to run their post as an ad, if possible.
That was really good. Let's hear it. Yeah, that's cool. I think I can complement that really well with kind of my perception on a lot of this stuff is that I have a big audience, those 200 million views a month, and I've been building Quarter Machine, and everything needs to be at the right time. Like in Web3, we still haven't figured it out, and so you need to, yeah. All right, really cool. I'll give you a little background on Quarter Machine. So we get these views on our YouTube channel. Even before I really was excited about Web3, we started to build out an animation studio because we wanted to like take our real life stories that we filmed and put on YouTube that our audience loves and reimagine them through animation, meaning like a lot of the hard part's done, more than half it's done. You have the storyline, you have the characters, you have all this different stuff, and then once you've created the models and the rigs in animation, right, they can just take our same stories that we've filmed at our house or Pirate Island or wherever, and the audio, the rigs, everything's there, and they just need to actually animate it, reimagine it through the visuals of animation. So now we're able to crank those out, and we're doing like an episode every month, like almost Pixar quality on a lot of this stuff, and it comes out every month, and we built out a team of people to do that. As we were doing that, I'd noticed that like this guy would spend a week just making this ship look perfect, like a pirate ship, and it just like shows up in the background for an episode. I'm like, man, I wish like people could appreciate that art more. And right around then is when I purchased my first VE friend, and I started to understand these new communities in Web3, and I was like, this would be a really great use for this, is like, let's have the assets in our animations become NFTs, and if you hold those assets, then you'll get a feature award when it gets featured in our stuff. So every time that pirate ship shows up in an episode, that person who owns that NFT gets a feature award. We've paid out over $300,000 in feature awards already, and we're only maybe like 6 months in. So like, it's cool to know that we're already giving back. Our episodes are already on YouTube. I think a lot of times, where I was gonna go with this, and I'll reverse back to that, is like a lot of times with Web3, people get too excited and they market too much, or they pay influencers too much, or I didn't go tell my whole community, which is largely a family channel community with like parents and kids and moms and stuff. I didn't say go buy our NFTs because they don't understand it, and that wouldn't have been healthy for my project or healthy for them not understanding, because crypto is a very long-term game, right? And so hopefully Quarter Machine makes sense now. Really cool. Imagine this. Last example for what Quarter Machine is. Imagine when Pixar created Toy Story, they changed the whole world of like full-length feature films through animation forever, right? Imagine if when they did that, it was a scrappy studio. They almost went under a couple times. Steve Jobs bought them from George Lucas, who was running Pixar. It wasn't called Pixar then, just to do Star Wars stuff. So they almost went under. They barely made it out. Imagine if in order to fund their Pixar animation studio, they would have had 100 collectibles or 1,000 collectibles of like the Slinky Dog or the Alien or the whatever dinosaur, right, from Toy Story. And you could have purchased that for $1,000 or ETH or whatever it was. And then once that they make a Toy Story 2, 3, 4, the shorts, the toys, whatever, you got a payout because you own that character digitally and you help support early days. That collectible back then would have been like a real life trophy. That would be really valuable and you could flip it on eBay. But also if you got those payouts from Pixar as they blew up, that would have been the best thing ever. It's almost like stock, right? That's what we're doing with Quarter Machine. That is the NFT project that's attached to our animation studio. That it's not saying eventually we're gonna make games and stuff and work with Netflix. Like, we're already doing it, which now reversing, I think that's where we're missing the mark on a lot of Web3 stuff. Everyone in this room is really excited to take that little opportunity I was talking about and build it bigger within Web3. And I'm all for it. Let's all do it. That's why we're here at this panel. But let's not get too excited and raise too much money or spend too much money on marketing or say, make all these promises that we're gonna create an episode. I have the animation studio that people recognize in Web3. We were just at VCon, et cetera. I get hit up by hundreds of projects who are like, yo, we have a lot of ETH and we'll pay whatever it takes. We need animations because it's on our roadmap and we haven't figured it out. No one's thinking before they're building. They're just like, I'm gonna make this project, see if it works, and then if it does, I'll use all the money to do what I said I was gonna do. They're not operators. They don't have a team. It's not that easy to make animations, and that's where you get these rug pulls. I don't think there's too many people that are going in saying, I'm gonna take all these people's money and then just dip. I think that happens sometimes and it's sad, but I think in general, people think they are gonna do it. I said that with Quarter Machine. Where's Phil? Phil, Quarter Machine holder right here. He's a homie, he's been here since the beginning. He has Quarter Machines. He's been through the roller coaster of Quarter Machine. We said, starting January 2022, we're gonna be this meta map, depending on what you have, we give out these cool physical deliverables and stuff. I didn't realize that we had to make a validator that could validate that, yes, you own that NFT, so we can send this and no one can beat the system or get hacked or anything. And so my promise wasn't good, and Phil didn't get what I told him he was gonna get in January, and I'm still trying to be conservative and do it right. And now we've blown it up, we just crushed VCon, Quarter Machine holders are stoked, but there were those ways of like, sorry, I thought we could do this and we couldn't because we're learning Web3 as we go. So, talking a lot, but that is my biggest takeaway. Take these small opportunities, go after it, build something huge, but don't overcommit and overpromise and overmarket something. That's why it's so volatile. That's why Gary Vee says 98% of NFT projects will not work and Web3 is dangerous. It's because everyone's going in with these crazy ambitions and no plan and no operators and no team. If you do it the right way, slowly, we have the backing of the whole space station. Everything I just mentioned, all these creative teams and hundreds of crew members ready to help Quarter Machine, and we're barely making it and barely keeping our promises. And luckily, 6 months in, we're starting to really crush it with this last VCon and everything else. But it was bumpy to get there, and we've done it a bunch of different times. So that is my word of caution for Web3. And like, hopefully that's a motivator for you guys to go work harder and build something, but also be cautious when you do it and be cautious about the projects you're getting into and their future promises.
Hey, both those are awesome experiences and real challenges, especially on the marketing side. People launch way too early.
Yep.
They make promises way too early. One of the biggest, I think, issues in the space is that people go out and raise a bunch of money with an idea that this is what I'm going to do, and so they develop a token and they sell it, or some NFTs and they sell it, and they're like, we're going to go build all this stuff with no background in building. Right, no infrastructure for building, no concept of what building actually is. And so, like a lot of people, that's really kind of backwards, traditionally. And there's a lot to be said about not doing things traditionally, right? Like, so I'm not saying everything has to be done the same way as what everybody else has always done it. You're not building a SaaS company, right? But one thing that has to really get aligned between the Web3 world and traditional technology spaces is build first, like. Build first. That's where your mind should be, I think. And whether that be build your community first, right? That's building. Whether it be build your product first, that's all building. And I understand we all need funds in order to be able to do that. But going out and launching a token with the hopes that after you raise a bunch of money that then you'll have all the resources that you need to be able to build something, that's a big shortcoming in the space, because then you realize, wait a minute, I don't know what resources necessarily I need. Yeah. The exact same issue that you have. For us, from a case study perspective, some of the issues I guess that we're facing or have faced or probably will continue to face is that we're working in an environment and we're building a platform, right? So not only do we have the Web3 side where we've got a security token that will be a fully registered security, and so we actually will have profit sharing as well, and we will be registered with the SEC, so we're not trying to scoot around that. I think that's another issue that we're going to see a lot of problems with in the coming years. But we're working within a framework that was developed in the 1930s to handle supposedly everything, and it did, right? Like, it handled all the concepts that they had in the 1930s about what was possible with business, what was possible with how communities can be funded together, how finance can work. And everything that's being built right now is just taking how finance could work and turning it on its head. And so there's no way to fit in this framework that was developed so long ago. And so you've got regulators who are looking at things through this lens that is, kind of twisted by time. And then you're trying to build in real time. And so figuring out the landscape shifting really, really, really rapidly, not just on the social media side, which you see on, like, the content is, when you started, content today is way different than where it was, right?
Evolving for sure.
And it will just keep doing that really, really fast. But then the technology side, if you blink, you miss the last 4 trends, right? Like, it's just developing so rapidly as well. And so I think that's one of the big challenges too, is being able to be creative and come up with concepts that are going to be enduring, and then being able to build those before you go out and just make promises that you're not able to keep, because that's probably in this space. One thing I got to agree with Shaun is, like, if you go around and talk to people, people really are trying to be their best selves. Yeah. Like, almost everybody you meet, like, people generally speaking, in my belief, is that people are good, right? But also, we all are dreamers. Like, nobody in this space is not a dreamer. Nobody in this space is here because we're not trying to build something greater than ourselves. And so you have these ideas and want to be able to do it, and sometimes there's just a disconnect between, as this good person, you're like, I'm going to make this work so well for you and do all these things for you. And then on the dreamer side, it's just bigger than, they used to say when I was a kid, my eyes were bigger than my stomach, because I would just be like, I could eat a bowl of ice cream this big. 8 bites in, I'm like, oh, I'm getting dizzy.
Just something I was thinking about while you were saying that is that like too often people think you need to purchase these communities or you need to sell out of 10,000 NFTs or whatever this big ambitious, like you need to be bigger and louder than everything out there to get noticed in Web3. I actually think it might be the opposite, is like everyone here has some sort of community, whether it's a small social media following, a medium-sized, whatever social media following, or a real life following, you and a bunch of gym buddies or the guys you get together and play soccer with, or like everyone has a community of maybe 20 to 50 to 100 plus people somewhere, somehow. Build with them first and do a project that, like, we did an NFT drop that was only 25 NFTs deep. Like, we weren't trying to go super big on it, but it was just meaningful and it had a lot of substance to it. So I think, like, look within where you already have a community and start there, and then build with them along your side, rather than try and market and get that big audience right out the gates. And I don't know if I finished my previous thought of just saying, like, I never invited my YouTube channel to go participate in our NFT project. It was just people that knew about it from hearing about it or being in the Web3 space. And eventually, all my YouTube audience will hear about it or they'll see me wearing the stuff, but I'm not promoting it because it's not the right time. So just build within your small communities that all of you have in some way, somehow.
Good point there. You know, especially community is probably in this space the most crucial piece, right? And your project really needs to support community and needs to be focused on what the community needs are. So, and then your community will do the work of the marketing generally. Yeah. Like that's you know, exactly you don't need to go and try to blow something up. Like it will handle itself, generally speaking, if you're really providing that value. And so focus on the pace, focus on the value, give people, you know, never overpromise, and just make sure you're delivering.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Garrett. So Garrett and I were actually texting yesterday a little bit about some of these topics in preparation for this panel, and I had a similar thought that we have kind of a swing right now from conventional centralized social media like Twitter and Facebook swinging toward, and Facebook, which is now kind of eye-rollingly engulfing the world. Like, it's not a community. It's billions of people, literally. Half the globe is on Facebook. It's everybody I've ever met or interacted with and everybody I ever will meet or interact with. I'm not sure I can call that my community. It's like every human being I've ever encountered. That's not my community. That's a weird social graph. But small groups, something like a DAO, that is community, right? And these gentlemen are talking about how smaller groups can actually be quite powerful. This is something that I see as kind of a trend. There's actually a lot of power in having a very committed, smaller group of people who have real believers. The founder of Wired magazine, Kevin Kelly, noted futurist, once said long ago that all you really need to be successful are 1,000 true fans. And that has been true. I think it's even more true now, and it might even be a smaller number. So in that vein, gentlemen, let me ask you this. What opportunities do you see on the horizon as people who work in this space and are hyper-vigilant about what's going on and are looking for opportunities all the time? What's coming down the pipeline that people are not generally aware of, a trend or opportunity that you see as somebody who works eyeball deep in this?
I'll go first, you mind? So I'm going to go again from the platform perspective, because that's kind of where we live, right? Not from the creator perspective, which I'm sure you guys will address really well. From the platform perspective, I think some spaces, there's some things to think about that are totally different than like a Facebook, right? In a traditional Web 2 social media, you need a lot of followers to have a community that you're able to monetize in a meaningful way. In Web 3, that's a totally different thing. Everybody's able to get value, to put value in, and then also to, you know, get value out of it. But the number of people that you need engaged in that is a much smaller thing now, because of the technology of cryptocurrency allows everybody to share in that. And when everybody's sharing in it, everybody's engaged in it typically. And that drives value for everybody. It's a multiplying effect, right? And so the focus has always been traditionally like, how do I get, you know, 200 million followers or something, right? And that's a super hard thing. Very few people can do it. You have to be incredibly talented. You know, these guys have huge followings. It's not like I could never do that. It's just not in my wheelhouse, right? But in the crypto space, there are a lot of opportunities to do things on a smaller scale that will also have a lot of good upside and financial value for both you and for your community. And so some of the things that I would say, would be the big opportunities in the future would be the smaller, more localized communities that can be more highly engaged. And so on the social side, for instance, like what's going on within 5 minutes of where I currently am, like real social interactions, building something that lets you know that, rather than trying to build something that only amplifies your voice as loud as possible, is how do I connect in a more intense, more deep manner. Anything that builds that, that's, to me, that's where the opportunities are. And you can do that in a very niche way in crypto, that you have to be a much more generalist in the Web 2 space, because you're able to monetize in a lot of different ways in a Web 3 space that you just can't do in a traditional space. But also platforms now are built for the users, right? They're built for the community to all get value for it. Traditionally, they've been just the platform, just, gets all the value, right? Like Facebook makes all the money. That's just how it is. Now it's going in the opposite direction. Now the community is getting all of the value. And so you need a smaller community to get more value. But it needs to be a very tight-knit, close community. So building strength in that. Anything that builds that, in my opinion, is the short-term biggest opportunities, because those will naturally grow.
I agree with that for sure. I also think that we're all kind of missing the boat on the experiential part of Web3. I think we're getting a little too decentralized and digital with it, which that stuff is important, and I get it. I buy video game skins and NFTs and all that stuff, but I think that's where Quarter Machine, that was our opinion, is we wanted to bring like an experience to this and have it be an excitement around it. And if you think about a quarter machine, it's that original nostalgia, right? Like everyone here has used a quarter machine. They're kind of global in all these different stores. It's very recognizable. And that experience that we've all had of like, you hope you get the money. You don't know if you have it. Your mom gives you a quarter. You bring a quarter from home and you put it in. And then you're looking, you're like, man, I could get an MP3 player. Like remember when all of us wanted an MP3 player and it was at the top of the quarter machine, but no one ever got it? It's like I could get an MP3 player or a bracelet or a card or whatever it is. And then you put your money in and you get something and then you can trade with a friend or whatnot. But that experience was almost more fun than the toy inside it. And like my kids would rather have like a quarter machine style toy because that experience is fun than actually a nice toy that they just buy off the shelf. So I think within Web3, a lot of us are just going, oh, it's decentralized digital. You just buy this, you use your crypto from this like mythical wallet and use this mythical OpenSea and everything else. And like there needs to be within these small communities or large communities, these experiential things, and not just the once a year giant party that if you're a holder, you can go on this yacht or something. It needs to be like these almost like daily events. We built out our meta map within Quarter Machine where if you hold this certain thing, you get to do this, or if you're a key holder, you get to unlock a chest. And again, we're still getting those up and running. They took longer than we thought, but it is an experiential thing. When we took our real life-size Quarter Machine to VCon last weekend, we learned so much. It was picture a ginormous quarter machine, and you put 0.25 ETH in, kind of like a meta quarter, if you will, and then inside are a whole bunch of NFTs. You've got the Clonex, that MP3 player up there. We had V-Friends, we had Dead Fellas, we had all these different projects, quarter machines, and people would turn the handle, scan it, put their ETH in, turn the handle, super exciting, the capsules come out and everything, and they're like, oh, I got a Dead Fellas, I got a Doodle, I got whatever it is, and it was this exciting experience. We were hoping to have people want to use the quarter machine often. We also had a crew there to try and talk to people about how it worked and get them excited to use it. From the moment we opened, the line started forming. We had a line like 300 plus people long. VCon told us it was the longest line other than the one to meet Gary V in day one, like longer than their own merch line. And it's because we brought that experience to Web3 where nothing against any other project. I don't even have to name one because I can literally just say all the other projects there were just digital things, and if you went and said hi, you could meet the artist or get a sticker or buy a hoodie for $70 or whatever it was. We were giving people this actual experience. So as you guys are building out your projects, taking your opportunities, don't get too degen on it. Web 2's still there. Like my Web 2 community is what's building this. Also, I love that you're making a platform for Web 3 because everyone keeps saying like, oh, it's so decentralized and you don't need a platform. It's all on. No, it's not. It's all on Discord. It's all on Twitter. It's all on OpenSea. Like, I am a master of Web 2. It's what I'm obsessed with. And everyone who's over here saying, oh, Web 3, Web 2 is horrible. Now it's all decentralized. I'm not trolling them. I just honestly don't understand it because now I'm having to learn how to use Discord and it sucks. And that's a platform that's worth $1 billion. And I'm having to figure out OpenSea and they take a cut of every transaction. They make $1 billion a month. And then I'm dealing with Twitter, which I'm way better at Instagram and YouTube than I am Twitter, but I'm getting better at Twitter and I'm going to DM you back, Phil. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? But it's like Web3 is still on a platform. So again, let's not go too degen. Like, pay attention to your Web 2 communities and build with them. And this guy's going to build us an awesome Web 3 platform because we need one. And we do need platforms in Web 3. There's no just magical decentralization where you can accomplish a lot without any process or structure.
100%.
I think that's it.
I have to ditto all of that. Like experiences, I mean, I think that's where also the community is built. And so my ideology is, how do I tie a life-changing experience with Web3 and crypto and all those buzzwords? And I think these we're calling them the DAO houses, which the DAO's farther down the DAO house, like the DAO.
If you're like slanging a short
Douse them with fire. Yeah. Like I think about everything I do as a funnel, and I'm sure Shaun has thought about this too. Like he was just saying, his YouTube channel brings in 200 million views. Like where do you funnel them, and how do you get to the actual person or the actual customer of whatever you're trying to sell? And so for me, it's like TikTok's like this new platform where anybody can go viral. And I think the downfall or the con of TikTok right now is it is almost its product, which is the For You page. So for example, like I have a recognizable face on TikTok, right? Because I probably pop up on the For You pages quite often. But then I was trying so hard, how do I get them to stay and how do I get them to engage in actual things versus just seeing me on the For You page? And then TikTok started streaming, and you can have an RTPM and a stream key, and I got access to the stream key. And so that's kind of like my second phase of the experience. Is you see a video, then you pop in my stream, I stream Fortnite, and then you pop in my Discord. And then the Discord pops into all these different projects. And it is building that small community. For example, if I post, like I did a thing with Built Bar and it got 10 million organic views on TikTok. And I think we drove like 5,000 purchases or something like that. But to do that is so extremely difficult. Whereas what I would rather have happen is, you know, you get the 10 million views, they come to the stream takes them to the Discord, and then the Discord is where you really sell on the people who actually care about you. So when you're going out and thinking, how do I market this? How do I get my first viral video on TikTok for my product? Just be aware that that's not where your customers are. That they're not in the massive nets. They're not in the massive groups of people. You need to kind of psychologically think of a funnel on how to get them to actually purchase. And so, yeah, I have over 8 million on TikTok, but it's like, I want somebody, like we need like a platform that can actually, maybe there is one that can quantify, you know, how many are true fans and how do you put them there. And so, I mean, I guess maybe that's Discord. You know, your real value is how many people are actually daily engaged with you. And I honestly, you know, I don't know what that number would be.
That's your engagement, not your followers.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that is, you need to be weary of like of TikTok and even like viral YouTube videos. It's where do you put these people and how do you build a community off platform?
That was great stuff, guys. So the market is down right now. It's down significantly over the last 6 months. The ecosystem is very different than it was 6 months ago in the November highs. Certainly anybody who's engaged in NFTs will have felt this. The NFT market is down significantly. What has this done to your current business engagement plans? And then what are your plans for pushing through this bear market? It could be down for weeks, months, couple years. We don't know. So what does a person need to do to push through to when this all recovers and we see bear surge of excitement and investment again? What are you doing?
I think you just need to actually be about it. This is awesome. Like, I'm not super good at, I'm not an economicist or whatever you call them, but. Economicist. Really? Yeah. Nailed it first try. I was actually trying to be funny. Nailed it. But I am not one of those guys. And I can tell you that, like, it is good because it's weeding out communities that aren't real. It's weeding out projects that are just based off hype. It's leading out the guys who think that Web3s get rich quick, and they have gotten a lot of people over the last year. You market something super heavy, and there is hype that you can see on social media and on Discord. Like, our Discord has such a small following compared to thousands of projects that aren't even real in their rug pulls and they're not doing anything, and they have like 10x the Discord followers. So it's like, it's going to weed out all those people, and then the projects that are actually having utility and have a plan and all that kind of stuff, they're going to rise. And so, I mean, that's in the NFT space. In crypto, just in general, I think this is taking, it's safer. The mainstream people who are just doing crypto because they see people are making money off Dogecoin and everything else, like, they're taking risks they don't understand and just following the pack blindly. And unfortunately, people have been hurt by this downswing, but hopefully this downswing can teach those people and then kind of prepare people who really want to get into crypto and learn how to do it the right way, and then they can kind of ride that roller coaster back up. But I don't know, I think it's healthy. I don't know how, nothing changes because the way that we're building in Web3, both the animation studio, Quarter Machine, et cetera, is not based on like hype or anything like that. It's based on actually building out this sustainable company and this idea around this could be the assets that are in our animations. We have the distribute, all that different stuff. Nothing changes depending on the market. I mean, there's less excitement or less trades or whatever, but at the end of the day, like, my plans to do what I'm going to do stay the same, and the community who feel that, they're going to stick around, and the ones who didn't feel it and they thought Quarter Machine was a get rich quick thing, they're out of here, and now I don't have to listen to complain in Discord, and it's actually a little bit better. So it's a good thing for everyone.
General population is, it might be because the general population just understands it more, so less people are willing to take that risk, that like the Dogecoin risk, right, where everybody's jumping. So I'm curious if it's just like equaling itself out, which I think for communities that you've already built, the small ones that will actually act on what you want to do in Web3 and crypto, I think it's better,
and
honestly.
For new ones, no one's going to just jump into projects based on hype and followers now because it's a down market and they've had those rough experiences. So now they're like, well, shoot, if I'm going to play in this space, I got to really understand that there is a roadmap, that there is a team, that there is an actual coin or whatever it is, right? Like, this is it's safer for people in a down market because you have to actually back what you're saying. It can't just be built off hype. So in a way, this is the best time for all of us to be building, to be entering, and to be learning Web3. It's the most dangerous. When I started learning Web3 like year and a half ago, right during the hype of VCon, all that, or VFriends and stuff, I got rickrolled so much because everything looks like a good project and everything's pumping, and I got rickrolled a ton, but I kind of had to do it to learn. I wish I would have entered into Web3 and started building Quarter Machine on a down market, because then I think people would have not looked at Quarter Machine like this hype project, but looked at Quarter Machine as like, whoa, this is a sustainable project that's going to climb out of this downturn. And yeah.
Yeah, a couple of things. I think one of the big issues that we face really is that in this space in particular, people don't know where to turn. Like, how do I find what's real, what's not real, and who's just hype machines, because there's so many hype machines, right? And so for us, what we're building specifically has trust scores in it so that you can know who you should be getting advice from, who you should be taking advice from. We built specifically tools for our creators so that they have things like their dashboard tells them how many people are engaging with them and for how long and which content and all of the things that you're talking about. And so focusing on building for the creators, because the creators are the builders, and making sure that you're building right now. So one of the points really, Shaun, Laz both said, you know, down markets are when you build. This is when you build wealth too. And up markets are when you extract that wealth. But everybody's a genius in a bull market, right? Because everybody's up, yeah. And some people are 1,000x up or 10,000x, you know, on some of their projects. And then, you know, as soon as everything goes sideways, and as soon as the market kind of starts tumbling the other direction, they just disappear, right? They just, what in the world just happened? And so knowing kind of where you can go to find people that you can trust, to find real projects. So if you're on the investment side, to know where to go to invest. And it's not always the person with the loudest voice. It almost never is, right? They're not usually the ones with the right, correct knowledge, information, know-how. But knowing how to find those people is really the key to it. And so when you're saying like not getting killed in a market like this, like there's blood in the streets everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're in tech stocks or, you know, the S&P 500, or if you're, I mean, it doesn't matter where you're at right now. If you got some money in the market, you've seen some roller coaster in the past couple of weeks, right? And in the crypto space in particular. And so knowing where you can go to find the right information at those times, but now is the time 100% to build. If you're a creator, build. If you're building a community, build. If you're building a project, build. And this is not the hype time, right? Wait until you've built. But now's the time. Get those 1,000 true followers, right? Get the small group that you're going to engage with. Engage with them as much as possible. Stay connected. Build that group really, really tight. Have real experiences with people. Don't forget to go outside, right? Like have a life, like a real life, not just an internet life too, right? Like those touch points, connect with those people at any opportunity that you can, have any experience with them. But now's the time when you build, right? And people are looking for that.
Good. Yeah, I think it's like survive and stick around. If you can do that, you're going to be very well positioned for when the market turns around. Okay, we've got a few minutes left. We're all still learning in the space. It's all brand new and it's all rapidly evolving. I want to hear about things that have surprised you since you have started into the decentralized web space. As you've been learning, as you've been building, what did you expect and how has that expectation been defied? How have you had to adjust your perspective, your understanding?
I think we all believe a lot in this new Web3 space and realize how important communities are, and community is a very overused buzzword that I'm pretty sick of, but it is a very important word. But I think the thing that I'm finding that is surprising is it's not collaborative as we all say it is. Like a lot of times people are so worried about their own project that they don't support or purchase from other people or get into other communities. They're just focused on theirs, and I think that's a huge thing that we need to fix. Coming from the Web 2 world, I've seen time and time again that the people who only collab with people who have more followers, so it really benefits them, they weren't very long-term successful. The people that went around and made lots of connections and did collabs with smaller people, different communities, they built this like sustainable, timeless community and brand because they actually cared about the people that they were building with, right? And so in Web3, in our scenario of loading up a quarter machine, we'd hit up communities like, hey, we've got this awesome collaborative idea. Like we're gonna come in, sweep your floor, make it look better, and then we're gonna put on our quarter machine, it flashes like what's in there and gives you a barcode to get to their Discord and all this different stuff. And it's like truly this win-win situation that was very collaborative, and it was mind-blowing how many people hit back and like, why would we help your project? Why would we put our stuff in your project? Do we get all the money? Like, do you take a cut? All this different stuff. It's like, well, this isn't a business. I mean, it is kind of a business thing, but like, literally, we're just trying to sweep your floor, give you exposure. Your project's not at VCon. This is a way for your project to get there. We had a line of hundreds of people that all were just looking at the machine. What am I going to get? What do I hope I get? And no one could see that as an opportunity. They saw it as a threat. And that blew my mind. And then once day one hit and all the socials went up and Gary was stoked on it and everyone saw the lines, all those emails hit back. Hey, sorry, I was just really busy. Like, I am interested. Could you actually get it in there for tomorrow at VCon? And like, I won't even charge you or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay. So you're waking up now. Like, I think as Web3, all of us here, and like, we're not competing against each other. Do you know how many like crypto coins are out there? You can just make them. They're digital. They're infinite, right? So we're not competing for who has the most crypto coins. We're trying to figure out a sustainable community and process and figure all this stuff out, right? So support each other's projects, go to each other's events, share community. Your community can be part of his community, and they're still part of your community. It's not like everyone has to choose one community and like F the rest, right? So like, I think that's my biggest thing that I was surprised by. I really thought it would be more collaborative. It's very similar to Web 2.
Fully supporting what Shaun is saying. That is very similar to Web 2. I've been reading a book called Don't Trust Your Gut by a guy named Seth Stevens-Davidowitz. He takes large data sets and he pulls out non-intuitive insights. One of them, I just was reading this chapter yesterday, is about artists who have a breakout and make it huge in the conventional art world and what they actually do to produce that outcome. They exhibit in a wide variety of places. They work with all kinds of different exhibitors and museums. And if they're exhibiting in the same place all the time, they don't break out. They don't reach the top echelon. You have to have lots of exposures with lots of different audiences. It's exactly the same here.
I have a really quick concept so this concept is actually a pretty smart one. I think that I just learned from experience doing it in social media is I, as a creator, wanted to work with bigger creators because that's more exposure. That's a bigger community and opportunity. So obviously I would strive for that. But I also understood that like when I was on the come up through Snapchat and YouTube, I appreciated that Casey Neistat made videos with me, even though he was bigger, et cetera, et cetera. And I think what a lot of big communities or accounts or whatever don't realize is that when you collaborate with a smaller account, even though they don't give the same value that you think you have, you're helping get them noticed. They're a breakout artist, then they blow up, and that makes you look good, and you go up with them. Think about the people, whether it's music industry, art industry, social media, the people that have believed in younger people and blown them up, and now Justin Bieber's bigger than you are, and it makes you relevant, like you found him or whatever that story is, right? Like, that makes you better, but the people who are like, no, I only go bigger, those bigger people aren't about to pop and blow up and make you better. They're just gonna give you a decent amount of community from your collab. The small people gonna give you less community right now, but you're giving them this opportunity, and they will never forget. Like, I specifically remember every collab. Devin Supertramp, the first time he did a video with me, I was forever grateful, you know, and I would do anything for Devin now, and I have. And then there's been other people that didn't collaborate with me or didn't tag me when they said they would, and I was super frustrated. And now those channels that used to be bigger than me are like, dude, can you help me get brand deals? Like, I need to figure out Web3. I see your NFT. Could you help me animate? And it's like, no, you rickrolled me 4 years ago because you had more followers and now you want help. And like, that stays with me. And I try not to hold grudges, but heck yeah, I hold them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you're a big community or a medium size and you want to get bigger, collaborate with smaller communities and help them blow up. And then we all do it together. So hard for people to realize this concept though.
You know, I think this is one of the most important life lessons, and this is like a conversation I have with my kids all the time about life, business, school, whatever it is like, if you're focusing on other people's needs, yours are naturally met. Yeah. Like, it's just a law of the universe. Like, that's just how life works. If all of your focus is on what everybody else needs, then you're solving for problems. And if you're solving for problems, you're going to have support when you need that support. But also, most of our needs are met on cruise control. Like, we focus on them all day long and stress out about them, but most of our needs are met on cruise control. And so if you're focusing on other people's needs, that's how you build, right? We said, what should I do is build. Like, that's what you should be doing right now. How to do it, you focus on other people's needs. You focus on their needs, and then they will take care of you. And also their community will appreciate that because it's a community. And that operates like a family. You know, family's the tightest community that there is. And that's how you make sure your family sticks together. That's how you make sure your community sticks together. And everybody supports each other. But, you know, anytime you have a parasitic environment, everybody's a parasite. It's not a parasite in a really healthy community. That's not how it works. It's a community of parasites. So if you're going to be focused on this, focus on it, and you'll surround yourself with like-minded individuals.
Don't join the Parasite DAO.
Don't join Parasite DAO.
But watch Parasite. That's a great movie. Yeah, I think the thing I was most surprised at is, and maybe you guys have experienced this too, is just how, like, and I love Shaun's honesty. Like, I mean, he'll get up here and say, yeah, we're still figuring it out. We've got all these projects. We're still figuring it out. I think that's so important to remember, even when you're talking with, like, the Bored Ape kids or whatever. Like, they're figuring it out. I just met with a private equity firm that only does crypto, and they've done like $200 million invested in crypto projects this year alone. And all the projects, they're still figuring it out. So even though I might, or you might not know as much as them, like, it kind of gives me a little bit, you know, when ease of mind when I go into these conversations is like, okay, I know they're figuring it out. And so I would just be wary of those who are like, this is how it works. We're doing it right. You know what I mean?
We got to figure it out. This is easy. Guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Easy.
Never.
If you're not struggling, and if you're not late on some of your promises, you're probably not figuring it out.
Exactly. And I guess my final thought here is the gold rush. What was the gold rush guy's name who was like, I'm going to go to California and build shovels, pails, and sifters and sell those. And he was actually the ones that made more money than all the guys getting gold. So I think what you have to look for, and what I look for when I'm investing my own money, is the projects that are actually the tool or the layer component. So I mean, Giddy's a great example just because they're right here, but they're building the platform to DeFi. Like, that's better than investing in the DeFi protocol, if that's the right term. But I always look for the tools. Who's building the shovels, who's building the pails, who's building the sifters, and not who's making the prettiest image on OpenSea, per se. Invest in OpenSea. don't invest in the image. I mean, that's how I'm looking at it right now. So, yeah.
Final words.
We are wrapping up. They've asked me to let you all know that we're going to be going into lunch. Lunch can happen outside. If you're going to be having lots of loud conversation and excitedly meeting people, that can all happen outside. Lunch is over at the diner area, boxed lunches, after this. Where can people find you gentlemen online, and what's one last thing that you think people need to know as they're walking away from this panel?
Yeah, great question. So moonify.com, MUUNIFI, like community finance, but with 2 U's. Moonify.com is probably the best place to find me. Garrett at, pretty easy. So reach out, connect there. In terms of learning, like, look, we're building a platform, so I couldn't agree more. You know, build the shovels and the picks, you know, the buckets. That's what we're building. So I agree. That's where the value is long term, right? The most important thing I would say, if you're getting into the Web3 space, like the only takeaway that I would focus on is like, when I'm entering in this space, I want to be around people who are also builders. Like, there's enough takers in the world, and you can usually spot them after a short period of time. I want to be a builder. Like, that's, to me, really, really important, and that's where I find my most joy, my most value, and, you know, where I've been the most successful in life is when I was building something. And so we happen to be, you know, in the midst of a bear market, no matter what kind of assets you're in, essentially. And that's the great thing about those markets, is they're made for builders.
My final thoughts are kind of what I said at the very beginning. You guys just need to keep taking every small opportunity you can and try and make it bigger. I'm a very normal person from Utah that did not have any connections, and my parents were not wealthy. I didn't even get cool like Jinko pants or name brand clothes, and I'm just a normal dude who saw an opportunity within Snapchat, just like you did within TikTok. And I was able to leverage that small opportunity and turn it into a bigger one. And I focused on how to draw and how to do all this stuff so I could be one of the biggest Snapchatters and meet the Gary V's and the Logan Pauls. And then I took those knowledge and relationships and decided to transition to YouTube. And we built an influencer marketing agency because we saw that opportunity and people need that help. And then we're like, esports is coming up. Let's do it. It really does work. Surround yourself with really good people. It's Holiday right there who's helped me build out the business side, and Jono does the creative, and Scott right here is filming me. Hey, Scott, make an edit of this later and let's throw it on a social media platform. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that teamwork, right? Paw Patrol stuff. That's what we need to focus on, is all the little opportunities. Let's all work together and do it. And that's the message I want you to take away. It's not how cool the space station is, not how many followers I have, not how rad a real-life quarter machine is, but like, those were all little things that all built on each other and mixed in with good people, and it worked. You guys can go do those things too. And let us help you do them along the way. The space station has lots of resources. I just heard about your very cool ideas right before this, and it was like, oh my gosh, we want to do that, but I don't have someone to operate it. You are ready to operate it, but you don't have someone to program it and do the graphics or whatever else. Like, oh my gosh, that's a great collaboration, so we swapped info, right? Like, that's exactly what you guys can be doing as well. And if you do need help, we want to help you. I'm Shonduras on everything. It's like Honduras, the country, but with the S in front. Shaun went to Honduras for a couple years and helped people, came back. Hey, Shaun's back from Honduras. Shonduras, it's stuck. What's this Instagram and YouTube thing? I don't know, you got to make one. All right, I'll use my new nickname. That's how Shonduras started, really cool. And then the space station as a whole, whether it's any of those industries that I've talked about, hit us up and let's collaborate and let us help navigate for you. We have spacestation.com, so Shonduras at spacestation.com, Holiday at spacestation.com. You'll figure out a way to get a hold of us and like, let's build together.
London Laz on everything, and in all my bios you'll see my motto, which is small brain, big dreams, and that kind of emulates what I want to provide to either the youth or somebody who wants to be a creator or an entrepreneur, whatever they want. Like, just like Shaun, like, I was not the smartest kid. In fact, when I signed up for UVU, they told me they didn't offer the level of math that my brain was operating at, and that I'd had to go take it at high school. And so I resigned, whatever. I said, okay, I won't go to college then, because I did not want to be the next Billy Madison, or the real life Billy Madison, and have to go take that. Anyway, so I just want, like, kind of same message as Shaun. Like, I want people to realize that, you know, I have a small brain, but I've got big dreams, and I will work tirelessly and endlessly to make them happen. And you don't need to be the smartest dude in the room to dream big. And thank you guys so much for being here, and I hope we can chat after.
But you do need to find a partner who's the